Hashem Na'aseh V'Nasliach. Okay, so we're about to enter the 3 weeks, and I was really thinking about, why the 3 weeks? What is Yud Zayin Tammuz, and what is Tisha B'Av? And it's brought down that on Yud Zayin Tammuz that the Chet Egel happened, and also the breaching of the walls of Yerushalayim, and some other calamities too. But the root of it is the Chet Egel. And I was just curious, like, what is it about this day? What is it about the Chet Egel that it should set us up for hundreds of years of Gullus and the Churban Beis Hamikdash, Rishon and Sheni, and maybe we could dive deep into Chet Egel and understand more deeply what the essences, the atmospheres. So I looked through various midrashim. I was really interested by the word Chinam, because we have Sinas Chinam, which is, for the Beis Hamikdash Sheni, that Hashem destroyed it because we had Sinas Chinam. So, okay, Sina. Basis hatred, but okay, Sina Chet, but what is this Chinam word? Because it has different meanings, and what does baseless even mean? And it also means free. And so I'll just start with a medrash on Parsha Shalach. It says, Shebachu Beleil Tish B'Av. For the people of that generation wept on the eve of the 9th of Av. Ve'amar lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Atem bechitem bechiyah shel chinam lefanai. Holy One, blessed is He, said to them in response, you wept with baseless weeping before me. Bechiyah shel chinam, baseless weeping. Ani ekva lachem bechiyah ledorot. I will therefore establish this night for you as a time of well-founded weeping for generations. Umin ota sha'a nigzera al Beis Hamikdash shetit charev. And from that moment it was decreed upon the holy temple that it would be destroyed on that very date. Kedei sheyiglu Yisrael levein ha'umot. In order that the people of Israel would be exiled among the nations. Sheken hu omer v'yisa yado lahem lahapil otam b'midbar ulahapil zaram b'goyim l'zorotam b'aratzot. For thus does it state elsewhere, then he raised his hand in an oath against them to cast them down in the wilderness, and to cast down their descendants among the nations, and to scatter them among the lands. That's in Psalms. Nesiot yad keneged nesiot kol. The raising of God's hand and oath correspond to the raising up of their voice in weeping. So in Parshas Beha'oscha, it says, Ve'ha'as pesuf asher b'kirbo hit'avu taiva v'yashuvu v'yibechu gam b'nei Yisrael v'yomru ma ya'achalienu basar zachrenu et hadaga asher nochal b'mitzrayim chinam. And it goes on. So it says that the rabble was among them, cultivated a craving, a taiva, and the children of Israel also turned and they wept and said, who will feed us meat? We remember the fish that we would eat in Egypt, free of charge. This word chinam. So baseless and also free of charge. It's also said that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he in Matan Torah, that he took the Torah lekach chinam, and the malachim accused him of taking the Torah, just taking it. But Hashem says, no, I gave it to him as a gift. So here too, even the Torah, receiving the Torah was chinam. So then we have in Parshas Kisisa, on this topic of Matan Torah, it says charus al haluchos, that the tablets were engraved. Mahu charus? What's the connotation of charus? Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Nehemiah, Rabbanan. They have two different interpretations. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, al tikre charus ele cherus min hagaluyos. Rabbi Yehuda says, don't read it as charus, engraves, but rather cherus, freedom. That is freedom from the exiles. Rabbi Nehemiah Omer cherus mi malach hamaves. Rabbi Nehemiah says it alludes to freedom from the angel of death. So then, Amar Rabbi Elazar beno shel Rabbi Yossi HaGlili, Imavo malach hamaves vayomer lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Yossi Glili, said, if the angel of death were to come before the Holy One, blessed be He, at the time of the giving of the Torah, and say, Al Chinam Beratani Ve'olam, you have created me in the world for naught. Hu Omer, God will respond, Al Kol Uma Sheba'olam Olam Hishlatvi Otecha, I have given you dominance over every nation in the world. Chutz me'uma zo shenatati la Cheirut, except for this nation in Israel, to whom I have given freedom from your power. Havei charut al haluchot. In this sense, it is cherus, freedom on the tablets. So, when we received Torah, we were actually free from the power of the Malach HaMavet, who is also akin to the Satan, Samach Mem. And it's because of Chet Egel that he came in. We brought death back into the world. It was like eating from the Etz Hadas. That before we ate, we had, everlasting life, and then the Chet Egel was like a enactment of eating Etz Hadas. We were so close to Hashem. We received the Luchot. He spoke to us. We were in the Midbar, the Man, the Anaya Kavod, and then we lost it all with the Chet Egel. And why? Because of Taiva. We were like, where's Moshe? He's gone. He's not here. Oh no, we need a new leader. Just like in the Midbar when they were craving for the meat and the fish, they said the fish is free. So Rashi says on the pasuk in Bahaloscha about the free fish, he says, Im Tamar Shemitzrayim Nosnim Lahem Dagim Chinam, that if you would have said that the Egyptians would give them free fish, V'halo kavar nemar v'teven lo yinatan lachem. But as it was, the Egyptians didn't even give them the straw for free. Im teven lo hayu notnim lahem chinam, dagim hayu notnim lahem chinam. So if they didn't give them the straw for free, kal v'chomer, they wouldn't have given them the fish for free. Umahu omer chinam. So what is it? What do they mean when they said the fish was free of charge? It's chinam min ha-mitzvos. They were free from having to do mitzvos. That the weight of the mitzvos in Torah they didn't have to do. They could just, they were avadim in Mitzrayim, but they didn't have all this responsibility of the mitzvos. And we know that when they were complaining about the meat, why were they complaining? Because Moshe had just given them the halachas of Erevus. And it's like, oh, what? We can't, have relations in the way that we once had, and all the mitzvos regarding that. So it was, they want to be chinam of Torah, and yet Moshe received Torah b'chinam. But Torah is cherus. Torah is the freedom. So we have to choose the freedom of Torah, which they saw as a burden, but is freedom from death, and the freedom of Torah over the chinam of not having Torah. So further, here. Okay. So I'm going to read also from Rabbi Avigdor Miller. He says, so this idea of Rabbi Akiva's Talmidim, there's one idea that the plague came upon them because of Sinas Chinam. There's also, it's brought down actually, Rabbi Matov, I asked him, I said, out of the 24,000 that perished in the Midbar and in this week's parsha in Balak, are they, the Rabbi Akiva's students, are they Gilgulim? Because there's also 24,000. And it's brought down, yeah, they are Gilgulim. And in the Midbar, they worship Avodah Zarah, and they wanted to do Znus. So Rabbi Akiva's students, they tikkuned, seemingly. They became such high-level Torah scholars, so why do they merit to also pass away? So Rabbi Avigdor Miller says, I heard 15 different opinions of why Rabbi Akiva's students were killed. One of them is that they had Sinas Chinam, which I don't understand. That 24,000 of them all made the same mistake? That doesn't go into my mind. Now what's your answer? Was it Sinas Chinam or something else? And was it all the 24,000, every one of them? The answer: you're asking properly. Now it's not easy for me to answer a question of such importance, but I'll attempt a little bit of an answer. Whether all 24,000 died or not, I wouldn't say, but I'm not able to tell you. We know that he had disciples from way back, so probably it means the majority. According to one tradition, they died as a punishment because of an insufficient regard for each other's dignity. Not sinas chinam, lo nehegu kevod ze lezeh. They didn't treat each other with the proper amount of respect. That's in Yevamos 62b. But you have to know that when such things are said in our Sfarim, they are said in a sublimated sense. It means like this: HaKadosh Baruch Hu wasn't satisfied with Rabbi Akiva's accomplishment. He accomplished 24,000 disciples, and they were all great in Torah, but some of them hadn't commensurately developed in greatness of character. Some of them hadn't achieved perfection in character, corresponding to their perfection in Torah greatness. Now, had we one of them today, he would be chief rabbi not only of New York City, he would be chief rabbi of the world. Any of Rabbi Akiva's Talmidim would be big enough to be Rav HaKolel for the whole world, and a good Rav HaKolel. But as Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, they were not good enough because HaKadosh Baruch Hu requires Derech Eretz before Torah, and he requires good midos in a very high degree of perfection. And because they were found wanting according to the supreme standards of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's why they were punished. That was one of them. That was some of them. The others were good ones, but they were punished because they should have reacted when they saw the failings of their peers, and they should have protested if they saw a lack of Derech Eretz. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided to wipe them out, and let Rabbi Akiva start anew. And he began anew with a new generation of Talmidim, and they were the perfect men. But if they were so great, how can they make such a big Avera? People can be great in Torah and also great in character, but their greatness in character sometimes doesn't keep step with their progress in Torah. And therefore a man has to know, with every page of Gemara he learns, he has to become better and better. He cannot remain the same in character if he's going to make progress in Torah. And they made so much progress in Torah, but their progress in good character, although there was progress, was not enough. It was not enough. That's the best I can tell you. So they would have been better off with good Derech Eretz and not Talmud Torah, Keneged Kulam? Well, I'll tell you a story. When I was in Slobodka Yeshiva, there was a man who came over to the Rosh Yeshiva, and he said like this: look, he said, if Torah imposes such responsibilities on you, it's better not to know any Torah. So the Rosh Yeshiva said, you know, a human being has more responsibilities than a cow. Which do you want to be? Would you rather be a cow? A cow has no responsibilities, but nobody would choose to be a cow. And therefore we have to try to grow great in Torah. And at the same time, we have to watch our step and make progress in decency, in Derech Eretz, in kindliness, and in all good qualities. Because we have to know that once we assume the yoke of Torah, then the yoke of Derech Eretz is going to be just as heavy upon us. So Chinam, they didn't want Torah or Derech Eretz in the Midbar. So Hashem wiped them out too. So it's not enough. You can have just one Torah and Hashem will wipe you out. You can want not Derech Eretz and Hashem will wipe you. We need both. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he explained that the way the encampments were around the Mishkan, so you had the different direction. You had east, you had south, west, and north. And he said each direction represents something. So east represents Kedusha, which is Torah, and south represents Midos. So, and this is in priorities of what we should prioritize. So we should prioritize Torah, and then Midos, they go together. And then to the west represents your health, and then to the north represents your wealth. So a lot of people make Parnasa their priority, but they can live their whole life, like I discussed last week, being vain and empty. And then they go to Gehenna, because they didn't immerse themselves in Torah. So we should put Torah as our priority, and Midos is second. They go together, and then our health. If we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't learn. We can't, be a person in this world. And then wealth. But we need all four. But the wealth shouldn't be the priority. The Torah and the Midos should be. So with that, hopefully we won't have to fast, and we won't have to do the 3 weeks. God willing, Mashiach will come this morning, tonight, Shabbos, I don't know. But regardless, whether it comes now or later, let's just keep learning and keep refining ourselves and and lots of tefillah, lots of tehillim, and from that, good job.